But Robin, okay, Robin's here now, so she can make you the.
Hello, Robin.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry I'm a few minutes late. I was upstairs at another meeting.
No, that's quite all right. Um, I I wasn't expecting you in the first place.
Yes.
Um,
I, well, I'm here, so I'm gonna stay on and I'll do the minutes. Is that okay with you?
that works great. That works great.
All
Hang
right.
on, I'm getting off. Just a second. I gotta figure which.
Okay. Just
Now, Robin, would you be able to allow me to screen share?
Oh yes, sorry. Is that let me
That's quite all right.
share. You should be all
Oh, and we have Representative Scarsdale here.
take some minutes.
Hey, Robin, when they put up the video, they're gonna cut these first few minutes, right?
Um, this here probably not. Did you want us?
Okay, it's okay.
Um, I'm sure we can figure out a way to do it.
It's okay.
Do you want me to stop the recording till we start officially?
Oh, no, no, no. We're good.
Okay.
I just didn't know if it started when Keenan and I were on. We didn't say
No,
anything.
no, it didn't. It just started when I joined, but I'll review it. No problem.
Just testing this screen share.
So, are we just waiting for Alex?
Alex can't make it. We're waiting on Kim Craven. She just said that she lost power, so she's trying to figure out a solution really quick.
Okay.
But in the interest of time, we'll probably just wait another couple minutes, and if she can't hop in on time, then we can just get going.
Okay. I is Lisa here? Did you step away, Lisa?
Just stepped away. Okay.
Sorry, Keenan, I had to step away.
Oh, that's all right. So it's 3:21 now. I think Kim can just hop on whenever she's able to. Um, so this is my first time doing this, so it's 3:21. I think it's okay if we call the meeting to order and just roll. Keenan Francois here, Lisa Martin.
Here.
And we are joined by Robin Ivy, Representative Scarsdale, and her aide, Benjamin Reinwald. And we have no members of the public currently. So we're just going to shoot down the agenda. We have no public comment and we have no old business as this is our first meeting. So we're going to hop right into just the presentation that I just put together, just to give some background and also giving us some options for uh, things moving forward. And hopefully we'll just have a discussion about our options and what we want to pursue legislatively going forward, specifically in the transportation realm. And I see Kim Craven also just hopped in here. Um,
Hi, I apologize. There was a power outage in West Townsend.
no, that's quite all right. That is quite all right. So let me just share my screen and we can get right to it. And I just asked for a little bit of leeway here. This is my first time doing this, so.
You're doing fine, Keenan.
Thank you. See, play from start. And all right, can everyone see this?
Yes.
Okay. So just a quick overview of the goal of this committee. Let me just hide everyone here. The purpose of this committee shall be to identify key fiscal, policy, and operational issues within the district, to research and identify laws and regulations pertaining to said identified issues, and working closely with our local lawmakers to form legislative solutions. So once again, a big thank you to Representative Scarsdale for being here today. Um, Going forward. Specifically, we're going to be talking about transportation. Massachusetts mandates 100% yellow bus transportation for regional school districts for all students year-round. Your comprehensive single-town districts don't have to do this. Your Leominsters, your Fitchburgs, your Lowells, et cetera, et cetera. In turn for this deal, the Commonwealth is supposed to fully fund our transportation costs, but this has not been the case for many, many years. So the question is, what are we going to do about it? A quick 5-year history here. These numbers are all from the DESI site. They also can be found in their raw form in the packet. So we see our reimbursement and entitlement rates here. You'll notice that in the past 5 years, we've had a pretty big variety, but about a 15% spread of what we've been being reimbursed for our transportation costs, which is laid out in the entitlement column. And that frequently leaves us with between $50,000 to $150,000 gaps between what we should be receiving and what we're actually getting. This complicates the whole budget process, and forces us to build in a lot of extra leeway in our transportation line when that money can realistically be going or is better served elsewhere.
Keenan, can I interrupt for a second?
Please go ahead.
I'm I'm a little suspicious that these numbers are in the wrong order because I am pretty sure we funded this year in this last fiscal budget, regional transportation was funded at 95%. And when I first came in, I was elected in 22, started serving in 23, and it was around 80%. So I just would ask that maybe those numbers just be double checked because I think they look out of order to me.
Yeah, so I pulled these straight from what DESI has. Ooh, I might have just closed the presentation there. I pulled that straight from what DESI has on their site. Um, I know the current year does not reflect what was ever funded through the supplemental budget. They have that distinction there.
Okay.
Possible that I don't think I reversed it. I double checked, but I can certainly go back afterward and make sure and issue a correction if that's the case. I don't want to misrepresent anything.
Okay. Yep. No, thank you. I know we all want to be on the same page.
Of course, of course.
So I do know, are you talking that the 96 should be down at 25, right?
Yeah, year 25.
Okay. So I do know like in 21, we almost did get close to 100%. That
Hmm.
was during the COVID years. And so that's why that one is at 96. So I know that that's a
Okay.
correct. I don't know, like 25, like Keenan was saying with the supplemental budget, I don't think that figures in here.
Yeah, and I mean the supplemental budget, I can't even remember when we passed that, but I'm sure Desi's numbers aren't updated for that. So thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, and I pulled these numbers on October the 1st. So
Mm,
if any updates have been issued since then, that won't be reflected here.
gotcha.
But just moving forward, this past session, H697 and S328 are identical bills. They were filed by Representative Scarsdale and Senator Cronin in the House and Senate, respectively. And just the summary of the bill is what's important is bolded, is where DESE will submit an annual request to the general court that will be 100% of the Commonwealth's funding obligation, which is 100% for regional school districts. This bill was heard on the June 3rd Joint Committee on Education hearing, and we heard testimony from Superintendent Morgan and Superintendent Brian Forget from Triton Regional, as well as Representative Scarsdale and her colleague on the North Shore. That video is linked in the packet, and I was sent out to you about a week in advance, just so everyone could review it. Um, the feedback that we heard from the Joint Committee Chair Lewis concluded that the bill doesn't address the systemic causes of transportation unaffordability and wants to see different strategic options. That's me just summarizing, of course, not to put words in his mouth. Uh, so the core problem at hand is there is no competition. D-Bus is the only business in town. They can charge what they please, and this is the case across the state. Bus companies have effective monopolies over the areas that they serve. The question is this something that we can reasonably solve and come up with a solution to? There's many different ways to do so. I've laid out four here, which we're going to go through in this presentation. And there's several more that I probably haven't thought of / don't have enough info on. So the first option is bus fees, which have been discussed extensively. This map here is just kind of our north central Massachusetts, our local area. In the dark yellow, you see regional school districts, which is important to note, cannot charge bus fees under the current law. The light yellow is the comprehensive districts, and the darker red are the comprehensive districts with bus fees. Those are 5 towns: Lunenburg, Harvard, Littleton, Westford, and West Boylston. You'll see in the bottom left what fees they charge and what their family caps are. That's the maximum amount a family can pay in bus fees to the district. This comes out to about a $261 average fee across the 5, and the cap varies depending on the district. The legislation here would be just writing something into the law to allow regional school districts to charge bus fees. I don't have exact numbers on these 5 towns and what they bring in from their bus fees, but from the research that I was able to find, it really varies quite wildly. Some of these districts only charge for students in a specific geographical area, a specific radius away from their schools. It varies quite significantly. So that is an option to making up some of the deficit that we face from the funding, from the reimbursement from DESE. Option 2 would be a sort of family initiative fund. A couple other states do this further out in the Midwest, which would actually be paying families to drive their students to school instead of taking a yellow bus. Under such a plan, families would be reimbursed at or above the IRS standard mileage rate. And in exchange, they would opt out from school bus transport for the year. So if they were to enroll in such a program, they would not be able to take yellow bus transportation for the school year. And this program would be funded from the same reimbursement from the state. So we would want the money that we paid out to families to be eligible for the same kind of reimbursement at whatever rate that the state sets. The goal of this program would be reducing the total bus count in favor of parental transport. It's important to note that our transport costs are not driven by the amount of students taking the bus. They are driven by the amount of buses that we have to have to get all the kids to school on time. Many of our buses don't run anywhere close to maximum capacity, which we're going to see on a later slide. So this is just kind of, talking through what this plan would look like. The red dot represents Hawthorne Brook Middle School, which serves the towns of Ashby and Townsend. The blue circle is a 2-mile radius from the school, and the yellow star actually represents my house, which is right on the 2-mile border. So if we were to math this out, if, say, we were to use a 2-mile geographical area for this program, to and from Hawthorne Brook Middle School, which is the red dot, which you see, is a 4-mile round trip. If you take that twice per day, 8 miles per day, at a 30-cent reimbursement rate, which is a arbitrary figure, which I'll go into later, that would bring us to $2.40 a day. For 180 days, the school year, that would bring you to about $432 annually for one family, versus the cost of one bus of $84,000 a year. Obviously, you can't replace, this program wouldn't be replacing buses. It would be in the effort to reduce the amount of buses. So the way that we would implement such a program strategically would be to target specific areas, geographical areas of the district, to see if we can get families to opt out of their busing, pay them to take their kids to school. And so we can eliminate those kids from the route calculations so we can hopefully reduce the amount of buses, which would save us money. The 30-cent figure, which I have here, is arbitrary. The IRS standard rate for 25 is about 17 cents a mile for moving and medical. If you were to bump that up to 70 cents a mile, which is the self-employed rate, which most businesses use, you'd be looking at numbers right around $1,000 per school year per family, and that's about $5 a day or so. So that's option 2. So the charts that you see here, both charts on the left and right, they are identical. And these are this district's, the North Middlesex district's ridership numbers for the AM school bus runs. So these are October 1st numbers. From the top category, the top section of the chart here is Ashby, the middle is Townsend, and the bottom is Pepperell. And this chart is identical on the right. On the right side has highlighted figures. Those represent buses that are, or I should say runs, that are sub 25% capacity. 25% of a bus is about 19 students, and it's 77 students maximum per bus. So you'll see that we do have a lot of low ridership runs, about 17 out of the 63 total AM runs. And as it stands under our current busing structure, we can't eliminate any of these buses without significantly increasing our route times. We would not be able to get kids to school on time if we eliminated any of these buses. So that's a problem that we're seeing here. Option 3 would be a sort of hybrid reimbursement structure. Under such a structure, the state would reimburse the full costs of buses running at sub X capacity. I just used 25% here as a placeholder, but this would work for any amount. And this would not be changing the seating requirement in any way for regional districts. This would just simply be changing the structure the state reimburses us to reimburse these low capacity buses that we have to run, that we are mandated to. In a hypothetical example, just to demonstrate how this sort of thing works, this is a hypothetical fleet of 10 buses. Last year in FY25, we were reimbursed at 84.8% of our total entitlement. That's pre-supplemental budget and anything else that happened there. At around $84,000 a bus, that brings us to $715,000 of a hypothetical reimbursement instead of the $843,000 total, which we would be receiving if we received 100% reimbursement. It should be noted that reimbursement is more complicated than this. There's several exclusions for students living within certain radius of schools and whatnot. But fundamentally, the structure remains the same. Under a hybrid reimbursement plan, 3 of these hypothetical 10 buses, which are at sub 25% capacity, would be reimbursed in full at 100% the cost of the bus. And the remaining 7 would be reimbursed at whatever standard rate that the state sets per year. So you'll see the math in the corner. But in summary, this would net us a hypothetical increase of $38,000 and change of a reimbursement increase, bringing the total reimbursement of this hypothetical fleet to 753 or I'm closer to 754,000. And going forward, sorry.
Keenan, can you go back on 3 again?
Sure.
Go back 1 slide.
Yep.
Okay, start. Go forward again. Will you explain this again? Sorry.
Yeah. So in this hypothetical fleet of 10 buses, you'll see these percentages here on each bus. This is the capacity. I didn't explain this, so thank you for clarifying. The hypothetical, these percentages are what the capacity of each of these buses are. This is a hypothetical example. This isn't reflective of what we actually have. You'll see 3 of these buses are at sub 25% capacity, which are highlighted in red here. And under such a structure, these 3 buses would be reimbursed at 100%. Because they are running at this suboptimal capacity. For this example, I used 25% as just a placeholder. It could be 50, it could be 60, it could be 30% capacity of a bus. I'm just using 25% for this example. So you'll see in the corner here the math. The 7 buses that are highlighted in yellow here come out to 590,000. This 84,000 is what the cost of 1 bus is. And 84.8% of that is about $500,000 and change. But these three buses that are at sub 25% capacity or suboptimal capacity, I'll refer to it as, would get reimbursed in full from the state. So by simply adding the 2 figures together, that's how you make it to that 753. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And before you move on, because I have a question. I mean, I'm assuming you're targeting these three buses because that's the biggest delta, right? Like, oh, 85, you're 15% away. That's a chunk, but it's a lot less of a chunk than 88% for the bus that's at 12%. But I think the state's question would be if it's only three buses that are so low, and I was going to ask you later, but I'll do it now. You said you couldn't eliminate the buses because you wouldn't be able to do the runs on time. But it'd be interesting to see the number of the 23%. Like if that's 24 kids, is there some thinking outside the box? I used to hate it when people did this, but when I was in school, we all walked to the mailbox in the center of the street, and the bus driver only stopped once on the street. And I know there's safety, and some streets don't have sidewalks, but is there is there something else we can do? Because I appreciate all the thought that has gone into this, and I really like how it's outside of the box. I don't think I just don't think this would go anywhere because I don't think the state would say, we're not going to pay 100% for 8 kids. You have to figure out another way. So maybe we could have some conversations. Doesn't have to be today, but like, what could that look like that we could get those kids somewhere else?
Yeah, sure. So I'm sure Lisa could elaborate more, but
Yep.
if you want to go ahead, Lisa, and talk
Yep.
about.
I'll elaborate about this because we have worked with D-Bus, especially this year, on like getting some of our routes closer, meaning that if there are 3 kids on that street, can we make a bus stop here and get those 3 kids? So they have done that. And D-Bus has
Okay.
been great this year to work on that.
Oh,
That's
good.
what has helped us in Ashby and in Townsend. They have
Okay.
done that. In Pepperell, they have done that as well. It all depends on if there's kids at that house, because it changes year to year.
Okay.
Sometimes families move in, families move out, and so that's why, like, it's hard to do a capacity on a bus because next year, that 83%, all those kids could be, graduating. And, that takes your high school route, way down again, and so it just depends on where the kids are living in the district at the time
Gotcha.
of
Yeah.
Okay.
the year.
And
And if there's an apartment complex too, because if they pick up
Oh,
at
yeah.
an apartment complex with a lot of kids,
whoops.
that fills a bus up faster.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Sorry, I just kicked off the presentation here. Um, Let me share again. Very sorry. Do, 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 do. Yeah, and just to further elaborate on that, what am I doing? I'm in presenter view. Oh my. So I don't have two monitors like I usually do, so I'm fumbling over.
I think you're doing great, Keenan. I've tried to run a presentation and talk and answer questions and fix technical problems, and it does not go this smoothly at all. So keep going.
Yeah, so just bringing it, thank you. Bringing it back to this chart on the right here. These are our real numbers. So this is what we have right now in the morning time. And the highlighted figures represent sub 25% capacity buses. We've tried our hardest to consolidate as many routes as possible. You'll notice that some of the blank spots here on the charts, those are intentional. Those are consolidated buses. We don't need those buses for, say, like, see here, we have the middle school route. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, it's shifted. This is the high school route where my cursor is. Uh, we've consolidated T6. We don't need that for the high school route, but we do need it for middle school where we have 51 kids on that bus and 41 kids on that bus for middle school. So we've consolidated as much as we can,
Mhm.
but because we have to provide a seat to every student, no matter where they live, how close to the school that they are, we can't go anymore. We can't make the routes any longer. We can't consolidate any more buses. Um, so that's kind of why I we have option 3 there. That would be instead of changing the seat requirement, which is actually option 4, which is literally just changing the seat requirement.
Yep.
Comprehensive districts don't have a seating requirement. For example, Gardner here, which we have circled, does not provide students with bus transport at all, period, fee or not, within 1.5 miles of their designated school. And from my understanding, they are very strict with that. There is no exception. Um, uh,
Keenan, do you know if they have sidewalks to walk to
um,
these? Because
not
that's been
not in a
been
lot
one
of
of the things. Okay.
um in their I did look at a map. Their high school is, in kind of a centrally located area. And there's a bunch of residences nearby with it makes it easy to walk there.
Yeah.
But for several of their other schools, like their elementary school, their middle school, they're kind of like isolated. There's no real walking. So to my understanding, I did not speak with anyone from Gardner, but to my understanding, the onus is on the parents at that point.
Okay.
Either drive their kids to school or um, figure out a different solution. Um, but that's all it's a quick presentation. That's all I have. Those are just four options that I came up with in my research about this issue. Um, the four options that I presented, so updating the seating requirement, this hybrid reimbursement structure, this family initiative fund, and the bus fees. These don't necessarily have to be mutually exclusive. We don't need, like, we could do a combination of multiple of them, or, maybe we do none of them at all. And we go back, during our discussion here, we can go back to the drawing board and figure something else out. This isn't exhaustive, but this is just what I was able to come up with during my research. Um, but I guess that moves us right into the next item is, the discussion. What do we feel about this?
Keenan, so is the thought to have Margaret help lobby for some of these options? Because right now we can't charge for busing.
Yeah. So
Oh,
this would all options here that I presented would require some change to the law. Whether it be with the district being able to get reimbursement for paying families to drive their kids, that would require changes to the reimbursement code. The bus fees, we can't do that. That would require legislation. So the kind of goal here is to see if we like any one specific option over the other, to move forward with, or to see if we can, if we want to explore something further, to do a little bit more research into it. Like, what do we like? What do we like? What do we not like? What can we throw away?
Keenan,
Yes.
should we try to do a little like focus group or straw man poll of the low ridership buses to see if families would even entertain
they did.
the
So we had to fill out a survey this year if we were riding the bus or not.
correct, but that
So
survey did not ask about would they be wanting to transport their child. And by looking at the numbers, if there's low ridership, if there was interest, that could be a cost savings.
So what you want to do is you want to see if we can send out, like a poll to some of these or the families along these routes to see if we can, gauge interest to see if they'd be willing to drive their kid to school if they say received uh, reimbursement.
Correct. And then I think the other question I would have is of D. Um, I know at one point back in the day, there was the smaller buses that some of us in the more rural areas of the district had at one point. Um, I think that was during our double session days, maybe, because in other times we did the walk, as Representative pointed out. We walked pretty far to get to a congregate spot, and so those were two different options. Reading through your information and then I had sat in on the transportation hearing and I had remarks, but I didn't get to read them. But part of it was kind of as I was listening and hearing what the chair was saying to see what the tolerance might be for sort of waiving some of their requirements that would take some of the pressure off the district, right? I felt like there was that open door of, and almost like, well, if we do fund it 100%, the districts aren't going to get creative with an ask back to us of some things that they might be able to do internally to save money. Because from my perspective, why should we be getting 100% reimbursement if we can come up with a solution that still gets kids to school but saves money by just changing some of the legislation and the wording in the legislation? Like if we can change a size of a bus to a lower cost bus, or if we could do something different. And I don't know if it's possible or practical, but you're getting me much more well versed in this.
All right. So the size of the bus does not matter, Kim.
It doesn't.
D,
Okay.
yeah, D charges us if it's a small bus or a large bus. Their size does not matter.
So that can be something that we take to negotiations.
Yeah, we need to talk to Nancy though, but D
Yeah.
has made it clear that they don't change. They charge us the same.
Well, what I would love to be able to do, and I know this is specific to Townsend, but Townsend had a very large type of contract that the vendor sort of, there were more vendors, but this vendor was very creative in their solutions with their contract. And I'd love to bring creative solutions to D as well. And I know, the gas is the same, but I would, maybe the fuel consumption is different. Um, I don't want to shut it down just because it's always been that way. Maybe there's a way to get it different. Like I don't want to just say, okay, they've said it, but I appreciate that information that you're saying that they've
Yeah.
said it's the same. Let's push back on that.
Yep, exactly. And who knows, they may change their mind with new people.
Yeah.
But currently they have said to us that it's the same no matter what.
Thank you for letting me know that.
Yeah, and in the bid form, which is linked in the packet, you can see that the 20 seat bus, which is the lower capacity bus that they offer, we currently are using only one of them, and it is the same price. It's my understanding, I don't know if this is, still accurate or whatnot, that there's also a limited number of those buses available. Like we wouldn't be able to convert, like, say, the entire Ashby bus fleet to those 20 passenger buses. Maybe that changed since last year when I last inquired about this. But um, maybe there's some flexibility there. But I think this also goes back to the competition thing where ultimately if D doesn't want to budge, then that's it. Like we can't do anything else there. There's nowhere else to turn to. Um, which is why I did want to bring up just mention the bidding process here. I wanted to get some information from Superintendent Morgan about how the bidding process actually plays out. But unfortunately, we weren't able to meet before this meeting to bring that information forward to this meeting. But it's my understanding, just based on his testimony and whatnot, that the bidding process is broken. Um, I just, based on my research that I was able to do without him, I wasn't able to come up with any solution to that problem because it seems to be it's a lot bigger than just bringing in, like, forcing competition. The other thing is that I wanted to mention was bringing transportation in-house is just because someone's going to watch back this meeting is not possible for us. It's not financially feasible. The math just doesn't work to pay for the actual the infrastructure, the people, the insurance, or whatnot. For a district of our size, it just does not work.
So Keenan, I can tell you, when you probably started school, we had two bus companies. There was two bus companies in North Middlesex. And then it did get bought out by D-Bus. I think they bought their fleet. So there used to be two in the region, but they've monopolized the regions now and just take up the districts that they have in their district or in their areas. So it's been a problem
Yeah.
of recent, maybe how many years would you say, Margaret? 8 years or so? It's been since I've been on the committee.
That we've had D.
Yeah.
I
Well, we've
mean,
had D all along, but
you've had the
like
second
the
one.
monopolization.
Yeah, I mean, I really started paying attention in about 2014, so about
Yeah.
11 years ago, and we only
Yeah.
had D bus at that time.
So I don't know how you change that because they are expensive to run. And I don't see somebody coming in,
Yeah, one of the
right?
things I was trying to remember if I sent you the letter. So after that hearing that Keenan referenced at the beginning of this meeting, after the education hearing, when it was really Senator Lewis who was kind of driving these conversations, and in fairness, Chair Gordon, House Chair, is new to this committee, so he's learning a lot of things. But Senator Lewis has been a champion of this since yeah, I don't know, at least 10 years. And we had a long conversation with him after that hearing. We sent a subsequent letter, by protocol. We send it to the House chair. The House chair works with the Senate chair. But, regarding the D bus company, is it possible that there's some scenario where the state takes over being the negotiator because now you have all these individual single districts negotiating with D-Bus Company. And if that's not feasible, I talked to Desi about this in 2023, and they weren't really jumping on the bandwagon. But one of the proposals we put forward in our letter to Chair Gordon, Kristen Kasner, who filed this bill with me this time, um, was to at least have negotiations by region. Like maybe it's Groton,
Mm.
Dunstable, and Lunenburg, and North Central, and Winchendon or Westminster, and maybe it's 20 towns in this area that are served by D. Maybe they have to negotiate with us as a block, and that could put some pressure on them to be more competitive. Because I do remember, I think it was my first year on the select board. And the select board, was talking to Brad Morgan. We had this big meeting at the high school about the cost, always going up, like can't meet the budget, et cetera, et cetera. And Brad had a piece of paper in front of him and he said, I went to D-Bus Company and I said, I don't remember the number, but you raised your rates by 7%, you know, go figure out something else. And he slid the paper across the table as if to them, and they pick it up and they look at it and they go, yep, you're right. And they slide it back. It's 9% increase. He said, because you can't say no. You pay whatever they ask, and that has never changed. So trying to get some traction on that. I think people who understand what's going on understand that needs to be part of the conversation. So that's something that's on the table very much so. And Keenan, you had mentioned like having parents, I think you mentioned, I'm not sure if you use these words, but having them opt in for busing, like how many parents just, for that bus that's 75% empty, how many parents on other buses really, they could get their kid to school if they had to. So that's in the letter, and I'm happy to send that to you. It's just a starting point, like it's to kind of get us going. So I'm happy to share that.
That would be great. And I think what also needs to be part of the conversation is I don't um in specifically regarding the seating requirement, I think being able to have an opt-out process would definitely benefit us specifically, since currently, anyone can join the busing, you know, segment at any point in the year, and we need to be able to accommodate them, like just like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that
And the caveat to that, Keenan, is that it now takes about 2 weeks for them to join in. That's what we're telling families. I believe that just because the route may have to change, because once you set your route, it may have to change if a family on another street decides to join in. So we have to give the bus company time to change that route. So it could be, I think we said 2 weeks, because when we filled out our survey, there's a 2-week clause in it if you come back on.
And
Hmm.
I think something that needs to be mentioned is I don't necessarily think say we were to change the seating requirement to not require regional districts to provide a seat to every student. I think there there's blowback um, that has to be considered. I don't know if that's necessarily something we want to champion per se. Like I don't think that's necessarily a win in our books. I think that's just more so a mitigation factor. Because it might be like a 1 year correction. If we can say everybody within, like Gardner does, everyone within 1.5 miles per or 2 miles of your school, you don't get a bus anymore. At a certain point, that's a 1 year, it's ongoing savings, but it's a 1 year correction. Um, so I don't necessarily know if that's something that we want to call, like I said, call a victory. I'm personally, I I'm in favor of my option. I already forgot what number option I made it. My paying families in. I think in economics we talk a lot about incentive. And if we can get, I think it's a very inventive way to get people off the bus and instead in cars and going to school, while still maintaining a sort of status quo. Um, is that something, Representative Scarsdale, that say, do you think anybody would bite at in the state house? Like, is this reasonable? Is this something that would actually be able to get off get done?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in trying, anything at all. And I guess I feel like um certainly Chair Lewis has been open in hearing any kind of alternatives and very eager to hear those. Like I said, he's been on the education reform bandwagon for about 10 years now. He understands the impact that this is having on districts, and I think we have a good ally in him. Um, I did ask Chair Gordon, we had a formal session on Wednesday. I did ask him if he had been able to meet with Chair Lewis yet. He is not. That's not unusual. I mean, there are lots of priorities at the State House, but I do know it's on his radar to do that. And I think I would feel more comfortable. Like I would want to make sure the school committee has vetted ideas and really wants to champion before I float anything to them, definitely. And I was just looking at the letter because just to show you, I think Brad Morgan brought this up, that school bus drivers are required to have a commercial driver's license. That's a really onerous process. And yes, they certainly need training on a larger vehicle, but is that really the appropriate mechanism for a school bus driver? Could we, even waiving some of that might allow us to get more bus drivers? Because I understand that's sometimes an issue. So I would say, let me know what you all agree on. And certainly some of that's going to dovetail with our letter. And I can go back to, I'll update Kristen Kasner, um, who serves some regional districts, and we'll go back to Chair Gordon and talk to him about it.
Okay. So in summary, Chair Gordon and Chair Lewis, they're open to hearing, different kind of ideas, just in
They
general.
are. They
Okay.
are, yes. And well, I can wait and give a summary at the end of the meeting, just about other things that are in play. So
Kim, did you have anything else to say?
I do, Keenan,
Yeah.
if Kim doesn't have anything. I worry about the incentive one
Mhm.
because you're still going to have to run the buses on the same roads. Say my neighbor takes it, but I don't take it.
Mhm.
So it really doesn't.
So,
It
so
may
that's,
it may lower the capacity, but that buses still have to run my road.
yeah, so that's why I specified it wouldn't be say if we were to move forward with such a program, it wouldn't be able to be carte blanche. That it wouldn't work that way. That kind of also just you'd be doubling up basically.
Mhm.
The goal of such a program would be to target specific like say
Regions.
geographical, yeah, regions and geographical areas of the district where um like say if we have a kid who's way on the Shirley side of Townsend, like right on the border, and a bus has to go way out of the way and spend 10 minutes to get to this kid alone. If we can take that kid out of the equation, and they're able to be driven to school, well, now we can optimize our routes even further, and we can eliminate buses that way. um, so the goal would be to target specific families, specific areas in order to reduce our total bus count. Um, so we can save money that way instead of putting the onus on the state to give us more money. Um, but like, such a thing, like Kim said, it would require vetting, further investigation to see if if it would actually play out. Because, maybe that family just isn't able to drive their kid to school.
Yeah.
I think Kim said she's having
Oh, there's
power
Kim.
issue.
Keep I think trying to get the rest of the power back on, they keep shutting ours off. Um, but so I finally figured out what you were talking about when I looked at the page with the figures on it. It didn't click in my head that the 77 and 20 were actually the bus sizes. I wasn't smart enough to figure out that those weren't the number of kids on each of the buses. So when I was looking at the numbers, so now I get that page much better. So thank you for that. Um, so putting the puzzle together, somehow we miraculously went down the bus and they figured it out pretty quickly. And so I'm trying to wrap my head around, the fact that it's been so complicated to get bus routes and get them right. And I think they've done a really good job this year with a challenging situation. And then it got more challenging. So I think discussions with them, obviously important, discussions on what is the one change that Representative Scarsdale feels would be the path of least resistance for us to go down that gives us like the pressure valve release that would make the most fiscal change. And when I'm looking at $67 million, and we're looking at a delta of 15 or 25,000, it's still meaningful in the overall budget. And I know it's a lot of work on your end, Representative, to pull together legislation to make a change. But if this is a multiplier that other districts can get on and it's not as heavy a lift for you, like if there's other districts that would see that type of financial gain by some small change and there was other people to help a groundswell for you, because I think we need to be cognizant of that, right? There's only so many times you can go to the table to ask for changes, and if it's just a small fiscal change, is that the right ask of us to you? But if it's one that we can look around at a little bit, Keenan, maybe we can, phone a couple friends and see if their districts would benefit, if they're friendly districts. Can we put a package together that, oh yeah, this is going to be one that would go through handily. It's not going to ruffle
Kim, can I ask, I think you mentioned a number 67 million. What number is that?
That's our budget, Margaret,
That's
our
our
school
total
budget.
school
Your
budget.
total budget. Okay. All right. I was
Uh,
trying to think, it's not one of the regional school transportation. Gotcha. It's like, oh, it's higher than that. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. So, yeah, I mean, I do think one of the reasons that we were able to get what are really like historic numbers for some of the items in the budget, like the tripling of minimum aid. The first year I was in, it was $30 per. It's $150 per this year. I mean, that sounds great. When you do the math, it actually it doesn't equate. Like I think it's $70,000 for North Middlesex, but still, that was a big number that was bumped. Regional school transportation is, I think it's the highest it's ever been, including COVID, for this budget with the 111 million that was added from the SUP budget. And that honestly is really because of the pressure that came from that Project 211 Plus group. I know some of you were at the Ways and Means hearing out in Amherst. That was more than standing room only. They couldn't even let people in the lobby for a while. The final hearing, the Public Ways and Means hearing for the budget, this year's budget that was held at the Gardner Auditorium that I know Kim was at, and Lisa, I think you were there. Brad Morgan was there. He testified. Chuck Walkovich. You could come and testify on anything. That was an open forum, and 75% of the testimony was from schools all across the Commonwealth. And not just the school districts, but the Massachusetts Association of everything, of school districts and superintendents and school committees. The Massachusetts Teachers Association are all on the same page right now. Like we have got to fix this funding formula in this FY26 budget that was just passed at the end of June. There was a policy writer on that to have this, I'm sorry, DESE, not the Senate. I almost said the wrong place. To have DESE form a committee to look at just one portion of the formula, which wasn't everything we wanted. Like the whole formula doesn't need to be looked at. It's really just a couple of pieces, like the wealth adjustment factor, all of the spigots that plug into the hold harmless or minimum aid category. Like we don't need to redo the whole formula. This isn't the foundation budget. Like we're changing everything. We just need to tweak a few avenues, and that work has started. So something that's going to be helpful and that I'm working on is not only keep that coalition together of the 232 districts, um, but to keep us on the same page about what we're asking for. So Keenan, I know I ran into you at Hannaford's in Townsend a few weeks ago. A group of us have been meeting, I think we're on our third or fourth meeting, planning an educational funding formula. It'll be here in the district. We'll either have it in Lunenburg or Groton. North Middlesex Auditorium wasn't available. Really focusing on our six towns, but using it as a model for other towns. Like if Kristen Kasner wants to bring her group down from the North Shore, and if Western Mass wants to come out, or Springfield wants to come up, well, not Springfield, but the Springfield area, just to see how this is done. Chair Gordon will be there. We're waiting to hear if Chair Lewis will be there. I think Secretary Tutwiler is going to send a representative. He can't make it. But just so kind of like those Ways and Means hearings, the chairs and the secretary can here's the impact, and pure, yeah, great. Yay, we've done some things. We need to get across the finish line. These are those things. We need your support because, like anything else, the State House responds to, oh, this is a problem for a lot of people. And I keep telling people the problem is there has never been any amplification of this issue. Like maybe Western Mass was kind of working on it. They had their little voice. Maybe one rep from one district was saying something, and a month later, another rep. Like there wasn't this concerted, full-throated effort from a whole bunch of people. We do have the state's attention, and that's why I'm hopeful about this bill. And yes, I think we need to zero in on one or two things. It's kind of like when advocacy groups send me their priority list, whether it's the police or fire or teachers or whatever, and they have 50 priorities. It's like I can't I can't go to a leader 50 times and say I need this and this and this. Like give me your top two or your top three, and hopefully we can get one. And I think if we can determine these are the things that are going to get us the most bang for the buck, and it's going to benefit Air Shirley. And believe it or not, Acton Boxborough has also, they haven't benefited from the formula like other towns have. I think that there's a real understanding now at the State House that something has to be done. And last thing I'll say, I mean, just to be fair, it is impossible to be an expert on everything and every kind of issue. Oh, solar panel siting, education, healthcare, home care workers, disabled, veterans, police issues, fire issues. Like you can't drill down into any of them. So the more we can be articulate and have really fleshed things out, these are the numbers, these are the quantitative things. I think that's going to continue to serve us. So I want to thank you because this presentation was fabulous. It shows a lot of research, and I hope you'll send me a copy. I'd love to spend some more time and dig into it. Like Kim said, I was thinking those were the number of kids on the bus, not the bus size. So um, yeah, thank you for including me in this conversation.
So,
Absolutely. Go ahead, Lisa.
whoops, sorry.
No,
So,
please.
Margaret, is the transportation route a route that we should be taking, or should we be focusing somewhere else?
Well, I would defer to you guys, the number crunchers, but it does seem like, again, minimum student aid, it sounds really great. 30 to 150, five times something. That's amazing. Imagine if we five times school transportation, like you guys might not have any issue at all. It seems like that is the best bang for the buck. But I'm not the expert on the numbers. So if you think that's the top thing, then yeah, I think we should do it. And like I said, I don't remember a chair spending as much time. I've been in a lot of hearings this year. I don't remember a chair spending as much time asking in-depth questions. And what about this? And well, have you thought about this? And I thought that was just a really good exchange with Chair Lewis. So I do, we have their attention. So I feel good about that.
Kim, I think you joined on the phone. Did you have anything?
Uh, I was just agreeing that I feel like the door is open to creativity. We just need to make sure that it's like a really good ask, concrete. And I think that if we flesh this out and maybe as things progress, we socialize it. That's what I was saying before. We got flipped out again. And I was just getting a bunch of texts because there's a fire in town now. I don't know what is going on.
Well, is there a fire, Kim?
Yeah, Main Street Auto.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh. Wow.
Yeah, hopefully it's not a bad one, and that everybody's okay. But
Yeah.
um, so yeah, and then you just had one in Groton. That if we find out from the other districts what might be viable for them, I think will help us. Timeline, what should we be thinking about in that regard?
Um, let's see, we're October 10th. We're gonna have the forum November 20th. I mean, definitely by November 20th, I would love to have some concrete things. The House, the legislature enacted new rules this year, a couple of which I was really on board with about you have to move bills out of committee within 60 days of a hearing. Some bills can be extended, and I think the Regional Transportation Bill 697 that I filed with Kasner, I think that's a candidate to be extended, which is it's good news. It means they're waiting to make sure that they have everything, the chairs have everything that they need, and that will give us a chance, like I know this is a subcommittee. I assume you have to go back to the full committee. If maybe by like November 10th, so 4 weeks from now, if you've crystallized around, these are the one or two things that we think will be the most bang for the buck. And again, look at my letter, see what you think about that. I think that's good timing. The governor's not going to send out her budget until the end of February, so these are exactly the kind of conversations we should be having right now. People call us in March and April. It's like it is way too late. Like the budget is set, so we're in good shape, I think, as far as lining things up for the FY 27 budget.
Okay. So, in that case, so I thank you so much for being here. I mean, the information that you're able to provide, the insight is certainly invaluable. Um,
Thank you.
Based on our rules, we only need to, I believe, have a full committee vote if there's a policy link to this, Lisa. The
Well, so if we would say that the committee, if you're speaking on behalf of the committee, we'd probably have to get full approval.
Mhm.
And I would suggest we get full approval if we're going to go after the bus routes and things like that, or who is going to speak and what is going to be spoken. That needs to be approved too.
Okay. Because
Yeah,
I'm just looking at our meeting calendar, and we have November 18 as our next meeting, which does kind of um
for
inhibit.
school committee? For the full school committee?
Well,
Yeah.
we have one October 21st too.
Oh, do we?
Yes, we have one October 21st and then November 18th.
Oh, I see. It's my calendar is so full, it's like collapsed under eight. Um,
It's okay, Keenan. I'm like, November 18th. No, we cannot go that long without having a school committee meeting.
okay.
I
So,
mean, we can always schedule more meetings, Keenan.
but
That yeah,
we don't want to
the
do.
18th one, I'm telling you, the 18th one could move. I'm not for sure yet, but it will move earlier. That's what I'm saying. It's going to move earlier in November.
Okay. So that does give us, kind of about 2 weeks here. We can, get a little bit more in depth on our side, see what the math works out with some of these options, and see if we can, solicit Superintendent Morgan's help to see what other
Well,
districts.
yeah, I was going to say even talk to the superintendent and to Nancy
Yeah,
because as our budget is starting to roll and they're getting ideas of what because maybe it's special education that we push too.
Hmm.
There's transportation and special education. I know that some meetings are coming up for that soon. So those are areas that, I mean, we have to decide where we want to focus to.
certainly.
Transportation being one, special education. Would be my things, would be transportation, special education, um, healthcare, but we don't really have a lot of control over healthcare. But
Yeah.
those are three big drivers of our budget.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Yeah. And just as an FYI, Brad Morgan and Brian Forget from Triton both helped Kristen and I craft that letter. So that won't be any surprise to Brad to see what's in there.
And I know that Brad is already testifying at a meeting coming up. Which one would that be?
I don't know.
Is it in November? It might be a November 18th one, actually.
Like at the State House testifying?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, if you can
by
find
Zoom.
out and let me know, because I'm not sure
Kim,
what
do
you
you remember?
me.
The MTA sent it out. Oh,
Is it their fiscal crisis team meeting?
I'll
Is
look it
that
up.
those
I'll let you know,
months? Okay,
Margaret.
yeah, yeah, thank you. Okay. All right. Well, I need to jump. I have a 4:30. But Keenan, if you'll send me the slides, if I don't have a chance, I'll send you the letter to Chair Gordon before the end of the day, which for me is around 10 p.m. So it might not be before 5, but I'll send it to you today. And Keenan, maybe I'll just send it to you if you can forward
Yeah,
it.
I can forward it onwards, that absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And thank
And
you
we
for
can include it in the packet as well, so that the
yes.
public has it. We'll put it out with the public, if that's
Um,
okay, Margaret.
I would ask no, like that. I'm sharing it kind of for your edification. Maybe it should
Okay.
be the whole school committee, only because it's a bargaining tool, and I think there are a lot of nuances, and there was a lot of conversations that, like between Brad and Brian, and um, I just don't. I don't want to start over again from scratch. And I also if for some reason the chair's like, oh, that was sent to me and now you're
Okay.
doing it publicly. So if you could just keep it for your own edification, and happy to answer any questions about it. I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm a champion of fast and efficient meetings, and we're going a little bit over. But I think we got to everything that we needed to discuss, which is good. So thank you, Representative Scarsdale, for being here.
My
Uh,
pleasure.
and I think we can schedule our next meeting over email because we don't Alex isn't here, so we can sort that out at a later date.
Yeah, I think the only thing, Keenan, that we need to do is just be really concise with our ask for next week if we have enough time. Get that on the agenda. Um,
For school committee?
yeah, like our direct ask, like what
Yes.
do and what do you want to bring forward from your committee to the major points for the 21st so that we can make sure that we keep on this. And like I'm happy to dig around some of the emails for the other districts. I think I have some from people that I had talked to last year too, just so that we can keep the ball rolling and get what the representative needs. And it's okay, Representative. We know you have to jump. You don't have to stay on with us.
Okay.
We
Oh,
know you
all
have to
right.
go.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Nice to see you all. Kim, nice to hear your voice. I hope everything is okay in Townsend, and thank you all for all the great work.
Thanks for
Thank
all
you.
your help always. As always. Thanks.
All right. Take care. I have to now look for the leave button. So Keenan, you have to be off for a second. All right. I found it. All right. Bye.
Bye. Um,
So, Keenan, and Kim, what I would recommend is our October 21st meeting. Because you need to put in an ask to the committee
Mhm.
if going down the route of transportation is what we want to focus on. If I'm getting that right, correct?
Yes. And I think, well, it's a matter of if we want to, like, do we need to get more specific than that? Of like what specifically legislatively we want to change with transportation, or can we just give a blanket, we want to explore transportation?
Or do you want more funding? Do you want to work for more funding with public transportation for or for our district
so I need
or
to look
West?
at our policy pieces again, Lisa, to refresh my memory. But I'd really love to see in general the committee, and I know I'm pushing the open meeting law here, but so let me restate it. I would like this committee to ask the full committee that we have the autonomy to work within the best interest of the district to see what legislative action would be most palatable to our legislators to bring forward to bring financial relief. And that might be a negotiation one, it might mean a reimbursement, it might mean reimbursement to families, it might mean something that we don't know yet, it might mean, you know, not having to provide seats. But this subcommittee needs the latitude, given the time constraints, to work under this topic and make decisions.
Yes.
So that's what I would like to go with to the main committee.
So can we, I mean, we would have to make that in the form of a motion here first. Would you
No, the subcommittee will make a recommendation to
Oh,
the full
okay, like
committee.
during the subcommittee report section.
Yeah,
Okay, and
And then
ask,
somebody can make a motion under there. But if we can work on that motion or you like and give that to Robin, that would be great.
so yeah,
Um,
so in that case, I feel like Kim, you might be able to language this out, you know, divide and conquer here. Um,
yeah,
if if you'd like to come up with what that motion would look like and, you know, forward it on to me, and then I can forward it on to Robin when I send, or Lisa when I send my materials for the subcommittee report. Um, and we can have that done by early next week so we can be all set and done. So that way we don't need to get tied up with um,
yeah,
specifics and stuck within a lot of bounds. Okay, I like that.
well, and I think that works because the full committee still has to approve it and it can be changed on the floor. But if something is given as a draft and that we agree that Kim will work on that draft and send it to you, Keenan, and then you send on to Robin and I to put on the agenda, that works out well, I think.
Okay.
Does that sound okay, Robin? She's shaking her head, yes.
Yes, yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. So I don't have anything else. Does anyone else have anything else?
Nope,
Conscious.
and
nope, I'm good.
I'm
I'll
good.
give you a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
That's great. And I'll take roll for that. Lisa Martin
Yes.
and Kim Craven.
Yes.
Ian Francois, yes. Thank you everyone for coming to the first
You
meeting.
have,
Schedule the next one soon.
we'll make it happen.
Thanks for all your work.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
All right.
Thank you, Robin.
Bye.